Two of the Art Lewis Show for this Monday morning. It is the 8th day of September, and I kind of view this as a special show because I don't know, well, I know for a fact I've never interviewed these two guys together, and I don't know how many times they've ever been interviewed together, because with us this morning is Shooty on duty. Two Shooties with us this morning. First of all, State Representative Bill G. Shooty. Good morning, Bill.
Hey, good morning, Art. Appreciate being here in studio on the air with you.
Well, we're glad to have you. Tagging along is the guy who brought him into the world, his dad.
Well, that's his mother.
Yeah, okay. Bill Shooty. Bill, good morning. Former congressman and former ag director in the state and all kinds of stuff. Bill, good morning to you.
Well, thank you, Art. It's great to be here. You got a double dose of Shooties. It's like a double shot of my baby's love or whatever. But delighted to be here. I'm simply the driver.
Does it happen very often, the two of you get together for interviews or anything?
You know, we played a lot of games of catch out in the yard back in the day, and we certainly talk a lot. But I think this is our first in-station radio interview together, so yeah. It's pretty cool.
I'm happy to
we
have
play
you.
Golf together, but this is the first time we've done
and
it.
How do we do? Who wins?
Depends on the day. Yeah.
Well, we're going to be chatting with them about a variety of issues, but Representative Shooty was kind enough to bring a special presentation for WSGW. Why don't you tell us about it, Bill? And then I've asked Charlie Rood to sit in and accept it because he had major responsibility in digging up all the information we used for the 75th. So it's yours. Go ahead.
Well, absolutely, Art. And it was, my pleasure to present to WSGW station today a state tribute in honor of 75 years of this radio station. I mean, it's an absolute institution in the Great Lakes Bay region. It's serving the area, its broadcast area. We have 10 different state representatives who make up the broadcast, the vast broadcast reach of WSGW signing this tribute. And we just wanted to present that to the station to recognize your good work over the years. And 75 years is a long time to be doing anything, much less in this crazy media landscape that we live in. You have withstood the test of time, and beyond that, you've grown and expanded and are really an institution. And I will say, I grew up listening to the morning show with Charlie, Dave, and Art. So I am,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So I wasn't there for all 75 of the years, but I've sure enjoyed it for all of my 30. So on behalf of the Michigan State Legislature, I want to present to WSGW and the station this special state tribute.
Charlie, your turn.
I'm not sure what to say to Tom like this. Thank you. It's very appreciative. We certainly appreciate the recognition. We believe it is a special time for WSW, and I would accept this, Art, not just on behalf of, representing WSW, but of our listening audience as well.
Absolutely.
Because we are not here for 75 years without our listening audience who has supported us, the business community who has supported us, and so many others who've had a chance to ensure that we've had an ability to be with you and be part of your families as you have been a part of our families for 75 years. Thank you very much. This is an honor.
Well, it's well earned and well deserved.
Bill, I'm surprised you listen to me that often, and you still grew up to be a state rep.
It'd be great on the way to school. I'd listen and getting ready in the morning team show, and then listen to Tigers baseball. So lots of WSGW in my upbringing. So it definitely explains why I guess I turned out okay.
So on the way to school, how many times did Dad yell at the radio?
Depends who was talking. If it was Charlie, if it was Art, you never know.
And on that note, I would just say that if you've listened that long, and if you've heard your dad be interviewed by Art, and the fact that you still show up to be interviewed by Art yourself.
Well, Art and I were here for the very first interview 75 years ago, so I'm glad to be here.
That's right.
I've learned a few of the tricks, so yeah.
We thank you again, and we will display this proudly in our studios.
Yeah, they got to meet Mark Thomas, our general manager, out in the lobby, and Terry Henney, and we really. We appreciate your thought and the thoughts of the legislature, and we thank you for it.
Absolutely.
Very good. Thanks, Charlie. We'll hang that one up probably in here again. We seem to have others in here, so we'll add that to it. All right. It's business time. No.
All right, here we go.
Couple of things. I got to get this out of the way, Bill G. I was going to wait till later, but there's all kinds of rumors floating out. Now that the governor has assigned a date for the 35th Senatorial District election, special election, February 3rd primary date. What are your intentions?
Well, thanks for the question, Art. And you're right. It's an important one because on that tribute we just presented, you and I were remarking there's a whole bunch of different state representatives, but there's no state senator signing that tribute because this whole area, WSGW's listening area, Saginaw, Midland, Bay counties, 270,000 people, are going to go 500 days without a state senator. And there's a glaring vacancy that needs to be filled in our state Senate, but it's really more than just a state Senate vacancy. It's a leadership vacancy in our state. You know, the fact that our schools rank 44th in the nation in reading, the fact that we still haven't fixed the roads 7 years into the Whitmer administration. While our reading scores are going down, your home heating bills are going up and up because of the radical far left Green New Deal energy policies that have been rammed through. We have leadership vacancies that we need to be filled in our state, a state Senate vacancy that needs to be filled in 2026. I'm confident it's going to be a change election, and we're going to work hard to fill those vacancies.
Still didn't answer the question.
It's funny.
You learned a lot from your dad.
I tell you what. On the drive over, Dad said, "I'll bet you a double hot fudge sundae that Art's going to ask you about the state Senate race." And I said, "I'm not going to take the deal because we both know he's going to ask about it." But Art, it's a serious issue, and these, having a vacancy like this demands serious leadership, and leaving a seat open for 500 days is the opposite of that. It's very unserious.
Let me rephrase the question without putting you on the spot. Is it something you would consider?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. We need serious leaders in this state. We need serious leaders at all levels of government, and it's definitely something I'm reviewing. And Art, when I have news to share, you'll be among the first to know it. That's for sure. So
among the first? No. Wait.
Well, I have to tell Mom too.
Family.
Exactly.
That's okay. What do you, Bill Senior? What do you advise this young chip off your shoulder?
That's a very thoughtful question, and obviously he and I have discussed this a lot. He and his mother and I have discussed this. I've given him the advice I've shared with him is to talk to close friends who really care about you and your future versus the political calculus. Those who want to make sure we achieve this or that, and not that that's unimportant. It is significant, but I think you need to talk to a handful of women and men in whom you place your trust and get their advice. And secondly, be a good listener. And then thirdly, questions of those close advisors of how would you approach this decision? And to me, that's those are ingredients to any type of exercise of how you want to advance your career. But I think the core on this is it's not about the office held. It's about the desire to serve. And how can you best serve Michigan? That's kind of the bottom line after I go through those ingredients, Art, I've shared with Bill. Okay, you decide how's the best way for you to serve. And either way is honorable, but you have to be peaceful about it. And a word of prayer helps as well.
I viewed it. It's interesting because listening to that, I view it as threefold in a decision-making way. It's a decision of the head. It's a decision of politics.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a decision of the heart. Am I right or wrong?
Well said.
Yeah. And I think, Art, sometimes we think of, public service, and it's funny, we're in a radio station here when I say this, but we think that running for office is about broadcasting and it's about talking about what you are going to do, but it's actually a lot about listening. It's about being on receive, not always on broadcast, and that's the process that I'm going through right now, and I think that's what good public servants aim to do is to listen, to take that into account, and then make a decision that they think is in the best interest.
From a technical standpoint, is there a filing deadline?
Filing deadline's the end of the month, September 30th.
Oh,
so you'll know by September 30th.
It's coming pretty quick then. Yeah. All right, we're going to take a break, come back in studio with us, Bill Schuette and Bill G. Schuette, and we will be back with them after these notes.
Today could be the day.
Back with you here in studio, we have Bill G. Schuette, State Representative Schuette, and his dad, former congressman and others. He is Bill Schuette, father and son together. You got to be proud, though, Bill, of Junior, I have to believe.
You know, his mother and I are very proud. We're grateful for this fine man, and he works hard. He knows, I read lots of Louis L'Amour books, and I like the West, but he's got to saddle his own bronc, so to speak. He's got to cut his own path, and that's just what he's doing. And his name Schuette can cut both ways. It can be a positive or minus, and that's why he has to do it himself, and that's what it's about.
And before you came back to the area, you were Defense Intelligence, or what did you do?
Yep, I served my country as a civilian intelligence officer with the Defense Intelligence Agency. I was based in our nation's capital, but I was sent down to Mexico in support of our counter-drug operations. And
you want to go back?
Yeah, it's important work. It's important work. When I was there at the DoD, and we could disrupt a shipment of fentanyl pills. I mean, even if we only were able to disrupt 250 pills from coming across the border, that's 250 lives you were saving, right? And that's an impact that you're working down in Mexico, but that has an impact in Tittabawassee Township here. It has an impact in Homer Township in Midland, and it's really important.
So just out of curiosity, what did you think of the president bobbing the heck out of that narco ship?
Oh, absolutely! It's absolutely needed. I mean, we have to show that these drug dealers and these cartels, which are really functioning as terrorist organizations that are undermining our national security, it's about time we had a leader in the White House who's willing to get tough and show these drug cartels, which are just absolute. My job was monitoring these cartels, identifying them so we could take them out. They are really nasty people who are trying to just absolutely exploit our country at every step. I think the full fury of the American military that's a great place to direct it.
All right, I want to change topics. Move to Dad for a minute.
It'll be a short
Tough questions over to him. Yeah.
No.
I texted Art this morning, listeners. I said, save the hard questions for son Bill.
No.
Well, this one's not a hard question. You are involved in a committee trying to create flood mitigation in our area. So I was going to ask for an update.
Thank you. We have a great team in Midland that has worked together since
the dams broke.
Since the dams broke and the rains. We would have had a flood even if the dams hadn't broken. Right. I got to give credit to Dave Kepler and the Four Lakes Task Force. He's kind of Obi-Wan Kenobi. The dams are going to come back. They're being repaired. With respect to flood reduction, we have a strong team that have been here. J.W. Fisher and Leanne Rouse Keller has done a terrific job leading it up, working with Tony Stamas from the Midland Business Alliance, and we were able to get $40 million back to Midland to reduce the severity and frequency of flooding. Son Bill was part of that, and we're working with the United States Army Corps of Engineers. We're having a big gathering on September 24th, kind of a community update where the Corps will give its report. The city of Midland will, with Brad Kay and Maureen Donker, the county commissioner, the head Jim Stamas, and a woman named Bridget Granson who do such a great job, and our Midland business team, letting folks know where we are, how we're using the $40 million. We're working on getting more federal funding, and we're doing this in a bipartisan fashion, Art, with our federal members of Congress and U.S. senators who are really working hard for us. So I'm optimistic, but it's going to take time. And this is really all, how about you build floodgates, pump stations, storage upstream, and we're going to get it done. And if people would have done this back in 1980, we wouldn't have had, which was the last time they had a review study, we wouldn't have had it. We're going to get it done this time.
Okay. Let me ask this, Bill. A lot of paperwork has gone before, and there's a lot of reviews and a lot of committee meetings and a lot of things like that. When do we see a shovel in the ground that the work actually starts?
And that is exactly why we're having this community update. And so your question is spot on. The engineering bids are out right now from the city of Midland. They'll be accepted. We expect to see activity in the ground come springtime. And so the city has done a terrific job of allocating $25 million, and then another $10 million will be allocated for pump stations and storage and lift gates and all of that. So that's what we're going to tell the community, so we're up to speed. And then the Army Corps is a little longer. That's kind of the federal highway, but we were one of 5 areas across the country where the Army Corps of Engineers is working on something as big as the Tittabawassee floodplain.
It's interesting to note that in theory, when this is done, and you've built all the storage and the pump stations and all of that, if we get a heavy rain, are you telling me I will not see it in front of my house along the Tittabawassee River downstream where I live?
Well,
hopefully.
Yeah, and nothing is ever that perfect because you never know what Mother Nature and the Lord does. But what we'll be doing is reducing the severity and frequency of flooding. There's always going to be some flooding. But what we don't want to have happen, and what is unacceptable, is when we saw people in Midland and Freeland and other places. In Midland, you could go down streets, you couldn't see the homes because of the debris they had to haul out of their basement. That's not going to happen anymore, we think, when we're done here. But, give us another 5-6 years. That's what it takes. Just like when you build the Soo Locks, it takes time. This is like a Soo Locks project here in Midland, Michigan, and mid-Michigan. That's the time it takes to build the new addition, up north. That's what's going to happen here in Midland. But that's the time frame. But the picture is we're going to reduce the severity and frequency of flooding.
Yeah, we've had water over River Road before, but when the dams broke, I live on the high side, and my property is up probably 10, 12 feet above road grade. I had 8 feet of water up the hill. I mean, there were boats. You weren't getting a car out. It was boats.
And here's the predicate of what we're doing. This is about public health and safety, because you cannot have people in mid-Michigan when the hospital, you can't get to the hospital to see a loved one, or when we might have to airlift someone from the Midland Hospital someplace else because it's getting swamped. This is a public health crisis. That's why we're going to work to solve it. We're going to need more funding from the Michigan legislature. We're working hard on that as well. We do have an advocate here in the station.
Somebody you're related to.
Yeah, somebody related to. But, this stuff isn't easy. Nothing's easy anymore. But we are determined. Every Wednesday for the past 5 years, the Midland Flood Reduction team meets at 9 a.m. Except Christmas, New Year's, 4th of July, and
we'll give you holidays off.
Yeah, holidays off. Thanks.
That's quite all right. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with our guest, Representative Bill G. Schuette, and his dad, Bill Schuette, former congressman, all ahead here on the Art Lewis Show.
Rocket Grab Plus.
Back with you in studio, 2 Schuettes on duty. We have Bill G. Schuette, state representative, and his dad, former Congressman Bill Schuette, with us this morning. So, Bill G., I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, how's the budget?
Yeah, no, it's a very important question, Art, because we're coming up on there's a couple of September 30th deadlines that we're facing in the state of Michigan, and one of them is a deadline to get our budget done. And my position as state representative of the 95th district, representing Midland County, parts of Bay, and parts of Gladwin counties, is I'm focused on delivering value for your tax dollars, because Michiganders work really hard. And they deserve that every dollar they give to the government is spent smartly, wisely, and with their interests at head. So to me, that looks like investing in our priorities, and that's our public infrastructure. We're in year 7 of the Whitmer administration. It's about time we actually fix the roads, right? And it's about public safety. Michiganders, they expect safe streets, safe neighborhoods, and us to support our police. And then lastly, public education. We want to make sure that we have good outcomes in public education.
Okay. I don't know if this will trip you up or not, but I got to ask it.
Yep.
I saw an article across my desk that Republicans, because they don't like Grady, who's the top of the MSP, reduced funding for the MSP by $107 billion and cut back this much here and this much there at a time when that made no sense to me at all.
Well, it makes no sense to you because there isn't any sense in it. So your truth detector test remains reliable, Art. In the budget that the House Republicans passed for the Michigan State Police, we included money for increased salaries for troopers and funding if they need to hire additional troopers to make sure our road patrols and the great work that our state police officers have is fully funded, and the ability to reward those hardworking troopers with the support that they need. You know, the decision we did make was, you're right, Colonel Grady, he has a 1% approval rating from his own troopers. I mean, a 1% approval rating, you think you would, look around and read the room, but instead he's pretty dug in, and the reason he has a 1% approval rating is because of a lot of questions of the ways that he has managed that agency that is charged with some very important responsibilities. So, we made the decision as the State House to transfer some of the areas where we've heard from hundreds and thousands of troopers where there is concern about certain certifications and certain protocols that are currently housed within the state police, concerns with his leadership. We made the decision to transfer those to the Bureau of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, which handles many of the similar qualifications, and have much more confidence in that department to lead those issues than the state police, which currently is led by a leader with a 1% approval rating.
Yeah, is it reasonable to say that on arrival in the Senate?
I think that your budget is about your priorities, right? And it's about, talking about whose back do you have. And Michigan House Republicans, we have the backs of our state police officers and our state police troopers. And, I think that the state Senate probably has the back of the colonel, who has a 1% approval rating.
All right. Let's move on to education. To me, anyway, money does not equate results. We've pumped a lot of money into education in this state, and we see our results down in the bottom of the pile. What's the answer?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right, 44th in the nation in reading. I mean, that's embarrassing. And you look at our latest M-STEP results, and it shows continued backsliding nationally. And, we want to be investing in our children's education. We want to make sure that parents are in charge. But we also want to make sure that we're focused on accountability and focused on outcomes. And that is what House Republicans are stepping up to do. And that's making sure that we reinstate common sense accountability measures into our schools. Like, we need, if, we're sending our students home with A through F report cards, we should be making sure our schools and our teachers and our superintendents also are following basic accountability measures as well. And it also means that we want to make sure that dollars are going to the students, into their education. It's incredible. You look at the state education budget that was passed last term, there's more than 30 different little line item categoricals that say, I'm not even joking, you have to spend this amount of your school budget on recess. I mean, I think that we should be giving our money to our school districts where parents have the most say, and say, school districts, you invest that money on tutors, on reading, on writing, on arithmetic, the core academic subjects we need our students to succeed. That's how House Republicans are going to boost student outcomes.
Which then begs the question, what do we need a federal and state Board of Education for? What should be their roles versus what it is?
Well, it's great timing because we have the
Dad's
well, and that's great timing. I don't see any reason for the State Board of Education to exist. All they've done is give pay increases and job extensions to our state superintendent while student outcomes have gone down and gone down. Art, if your viewership in WSGW and your job performance ratings were going down and down and down, you'd be having tough conversations, and so would Michiganders across our state.
Any conversation.
Exactly. Yeah, you'd be 75 years wouldn't be on the air. But instead, our superintendent has been, extended and given pay increases when student outcomes have been going down. So I think the State Board of Education really has failed in its duty, and we need to make sure we have more accountability with how we hire our state superintendent, our chief education officer. And, we're bringing in today to Midland, to the Bill Schuette Barbecue. That's a tease in the business. The Honorable Linda McMahon, Secretary of Education, who's going to talk about how we can reinstate some common sense accountability measures into our schools.
Where's that going to be?
It's going to be at the Midland County Fairgrounds at 5:30. It's the Bill Schuette Barbecue, named after another guy named Bill Schuette. And
don't let that turn you away. Still come.
Are you cooking?
No, even better, we're bringing in catering. So, yeah.
I'll be doing the cleanup.
Yeah.
We'll take a break on that note. We'll be back with our guests after these notes. All right, we're back with you here on WSGW. In studio with me, former Congressman Bill Schuette and his son, State Representative Bill G. Schuette. As far as we know, the first time they've been together in a radio interview. So we are
making history. Year 75 of WSGW.
We're celebrating. That's right. I'm going to ask both of you this question. I have put out the notion that the Great Lakes Bay region could, in the not-too-distant future, lead the state in production, jobs. And the reason I say that, we have Corning coming in with $1.5 billion project and 1,500 jobs. Hemlock Semiconductor is looking for a couple of hundred more. SK Siltron in Bay City is looking for more. Other companies around here looking for more. We could find ourselves leading the state in how growth happens. Yes or no?
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, there's a lot of exciting energy in the Great Lakes Bay region, and we should have big hopes. We should have the highest aspirations for our region, because you talk about the types of investments that's coming into this region, but then I look around the communities of Midland, of Bay, and of Saginaw. I mean, we have world-class educational institutions, whether that's Saginaw Valley State University, or that's Delta College, or that's Northwood. We have really great universities. We have excellent employers. We know about the Dows. We know about the Hemlock Semiconductors. We know about the Cornings. But then, you drive down Tittabawassee Road, you drive down Bay Road, you see all these small businesses that employ, 10 to 50 people that really make up the bedrock of what is a strong and vibrant community. We have, and then, that isn't to add in the great quality of life that we have from the Great Lakes Loons or the Saginaw Spirit, our golf outings, the LPGA tournament that you're always at hole one of. This is a great time to be alive in the Great Lakes Bay region, and it's on us as leaders, it's on us as a community to seize that moment and that opportunity.
And I'm sure the audience is tired of hearing me say this, but I've asked this question many times to many. If we look at Saginaw Bay and Midland, we'll leave Isabella out for a minute. Look at the three counties, and we're about 400,000 people. Point to me a city in the United States with 400,000 that has 2 symphony orchestras, multiple art museums, multiple theater companies, multiple choral societies. Where?
Yeah.
Senior?
That's you enumerated the special qualities this region has, and Bill added to that. So the aspirations that we have and the ability to go forward are really just immeasurable. They're big, but some of the fundamentals we need to make sure we sharpen, and that would be we need to have a Michigan that has lower taxes, because the growth, investment of capital, people, jobs, it's happening where taxes are lower. I mean, you just go to, why do you think GM and others go to Kentucky, Tennessee, the Carolinas, Texas? So we need to look at our tax structure and reduce it. Second, we need to be a right-to-work state. We had that, and then now it went away, and that puts a damper on additional investment. And then we need to address our education fundamentals. And so, because when companies come in, if we really want to get that big pop that you're talking about, enormous growth opportunities to really yield results, we're going to have to make